What is everyday school life like in middle school in France? I am here with the other third of the Baguette Boughton family today, Juliana, and we're going to talk about that today. Previously, we made this video, which focused on what it's like to be in school, French school, when you don't speak French yet. But we've had lots of follow-up questions since then about lunches and the schedules and just what everyday life is like. So that's what we're going to focus on in this interview today. All right. So to start right off the bat, what is your schedule like in French school?
So I go from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. every day, except for Wednesdays where I have a half day.
Okay.
And I finish at about 12.
Okay.
And each day they're different. So one day I'll have French, Spanish, science, math, and then the next day I'll have English, Spanish, biology, and chemistry. So, every day is just slightly different.
Oh, okay.
And also, yeah.
Oh, no, go ahead.
No. No thoughts. There was the thought train just stopped.
All right. So on Wednesday afternoons, you just have a free day in the afternoon. What do most kids do on Wednesday afternoons?
So a lot of kids have extracurricular activities. Instead of just after school every day, they have them on these Wednesday afternoons. Mm-hmm. So like me, I take piano and I have extra French lessons.
Yeah. Which kind of makes sense because your school day is longer. Like you mentioned, It goes till 5. Is that, what time do your friends in the U.S. in middle school usually get out?
They get out around 3.
Yeah, so they have a little more time in the afternoons.
Yeah, they have more time to go do other extracurricular activities while it's like I get out at 5 and I'm home at 5:30. I don't have time to really...
After you do homework and stuff. What kind of extracurricular activities are popular here in France that your friends do on Wednesday afternoons?
I was going to say soccer, but forget that. Football. It's football, not soccer.
Right.
But... musical instruments, a lot of musical instruments, and a lot of just sports, but particularly football and around here rowing, but I don't know why. Like everyone at my school does rowing.
Oh, really?
I don't know why.
Well, we have a lot of rivers. You can row down the rivers. Okay. Yeah, I was just curious if the extracurricular activities were similar to the ones that middle schoolers are doing.
Oh, a lot of ballet.
A lot of ballet.
There's a lot of ballet.
Okay, that's interesting.
I like dance.
And so you don't have extracurricular activities that are really taking place in school as much, right, as you would in the U.S. Like there's no, and I should say, right, she was in a public school, just a regular French public middle school the first year, and now she's in, it's like a private public hybrid kind of, so it's still the French curriculum, but these schools in France, you pay a little bit each month for them, and usually they offer some things that you don't find in the public schools. So that could be religious education at the Catholic schools, or hers in particular offers they are kind of extracurricular workshops that take place at the end of the day, a couple of days a week. That is not common in other just kind of regular public French schools, right? Yeah. So there's no band, there's no orchestra, there's no theater.
They just don't really exist. They're just for me these extracurricular activities that I have. They just happen. Like they're part of my school schedule. I do them. I have lessons after them.
But that's specific to my school.
My friends in their other school, they have
that are in French public school.
Yes, they have. There are extracurricular stuff. Okay. But normally it happens, there's a certain day, I think it's Tuesdays, I don't know. And in the second half of the lunch hour, so after the first hour of lunch, some kids go to theater, or I can't think of any other things that they have. I only know people who went to theater.
There's chess club.
Yeah, there's a language one.
I think there's robotics.
I think so, yeah. But I can only think of the other one.
Yeah. But those are not, are they sponsored by the school? Do you get grades in them? How do they work?
I don't know. I was friends with someone who was in the theater club, but I never really was very interested in doing them because I just didn't really want to that year.
Well, at that point, you didn't really know enough French to fully
to do any of them.
So
I don't really know how those work.
But they take place during lunch.
Yeah.
So at that school, there's 2 hours for lunch every day. And so you eat in the first hour and then you would go to one of your clubs in the second hour, right? And who organizes those clubs? Is it the students, the teachers?
So normally there's one teacher or maybe two per club. Like there was my French teacher and I think my math teacher who orchestrated that theater club.
Okay.
And it was just those two who like ran everything. And the kids, you just sign up. We had a bulletin board, and you just like wrote your name and your class, and we're like, I would like to participate.
Okay. Yeah. So they weren't necessarily like, I don't know if you'd know the answer to this, but did they do a theater production, or was it just like you're just interested in it and you share this interest, and so it's kind of like almost like a club that is like,
So I was able to go because I had some free time, like I had in a study hall lesson. So they had like a really short 45-minute, I guess, production at the end of the year, I think. It was near the end of the year. And then also there was last year, there's like this thing in a city near us that you can participate in, and that's all the different schools, and they all do like a small part of their project that they've been working on, or a small, play. And so my old school was there too, along with my new school.
Okay.
Doing theirs.
So extracurriculars are not part of like the sponsored academic school day.
No.
But some schools might have sort of like what we would think of as probably like an after school club.
Yeah.
And they happen more often during lunch period, right? At least that's been our experience so far. How do you think that changes the middle school experience then?
Well, I feel like there still are groups, like you have your friend group, you don't just hang out with everyone, but it feels like there's the group of the band kids, and there's the group of the kids who do theater, and there's the group of kids who play sports, and there's the group of kids who do this, and blah, 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 blah. But...
So you're less, like, you identify less with a particular, group within the school that way. Okay, interesting. So how do kids end up hanging out together then? What usually happens?
You end up in the same class in cesium and you stick together. I don't know. Really, it's like, I feel like everyone just has their friend group that they've had you just kind of end up together in a group. I don't know. It just kind of happens.
Yeah.
Like maybe you ride the bus with someone. Like that's how I'm friends with one of my friends. I'm only friends with them because I ride the bus with them. Mm-hmm. And then there's like, you might be in at my new school, like the not after school, but the workshop things. Like you're in a workshop with someone, so you become friends with them, or you're just in the same class as them. So. Okay.
Let's talk about lunches, because French school lunches are pretty famous, I think, for 3 different reasons. One, that they're much longer than in the U.S., which we've already touched on, the food that you get, and what you do during lunch. Okay, so let's start with how long are lunches usually in middle school in France?
So about an hour and a half to 2 hours. I'd say like the median would be an hour and a half to 2 hours, yeah.
And like, do you eat that whole time for 2 hours?
No. So for my school, we have like a schedule posted, and it says, you're in this class. You will eat at this time on this day. Mm-hmm. So it says like you'll go in at 12:30. So I know that I have 30 minutes after I get out of class to just hang out with my friends, and then I'll get in the lunch line, and you eat for like 30 minutes, maybe an hour, depends on how long you're in there.
Yeah.
And then you just kind of hang out. You just walk around, play games. Like normally, sometimes they'll have like footballs out, like soccer balls. That's what I mean. Not a football.
I've seen kids play basketball.
Yeah, that's pretty common.
There's ping pong tables.
Yeah, there's ping pong tables.
Can you just read a book in a corner if you want?
Yeah, you can do whatever you want. Really, they don't care.
Yeah.
There's like one teacher who walks around and is like, "Don't fight each other." Yeah.
So it's really a break.
Yeah.
It is a break. Do you ever see kids doing homework during lunch?
I do homework during lunch. No one else does. No. It's just me. It's me. I am the child who does homework during lunch.
Yeah? Just because you don't like to do it after school?
Yeah, I don't want to do it at home. And if I have 2 hours for lunch and I have one thing to do for homework. I just don't want to do it at home, so I'm going to do it here at school.
She's still American, folks. She's like got to be productive during lunch after she's eaten.
No, it's just because I don't want to have to be productive later. So
no, that totally makes sense. I was just wondering. Okay, so you get a real break. It could be anywhere from 90 minutes to 2 hours. Part of that is spent eating, and part of it is like you can relax, you can play games, you just socialize, hang out with your friends. Okay, so let's talk about the food at lunch. So first of all, I just want to say, when we signed you up, we were at the Ministry of Education, and the administrator was saying, well, how the food is really depends on the chef at your school. And Jason and I were like, chef at the school? What?
It's not a restaurant.
It's not a restaurant. That's what we were thinking, right? But we were wrong. When she went to her first school, your lunches were fantastic.
Yeah, my first school, it was like, I would come home, they're like, my parents would be like, what did you eat today?
You did. We wanted to know every day.
What you have?
So what was it like?
It was like you got a plate and you just got to choose what you wanted.
They put it on a plate? No.
They put your food on the plate.
Well, how many courses did you get?
4, I guess, because you had a appetizer, a dessert, maybe cheese or like yogurt, and then a main course.
Right. Okay, so 4 courses.
Yeah, and normally you have like...
But you got those all at once?
You pick them out and you have them at once, but you just put them on your tray. Like they're not serving you, but...
Okay. So so you've got your tray with like all 4 courses, your cheese course, your salad, your dessert, and your main. Did people eat them in order?
Yes, every single day.
Really?
Every day they eat them in order. Like I can't think of a time where someone was eating, and obviously I'm not going to remember something like that, but I can't think of a time that someone was eating out of order.
So tell me about some of the things that they served you. What might those courses be? Like, what are some of the main courses that you had?
So for main courses, we'll have like, normally it's like a main meat. So like a chicken, like a piece of chicken, or...
She's underselling this, folks. It was like chicken in white wine sauce, or... Oh!
We had like paella.
Yeah. What did they put on the paella?
Prawns.
Yeah. Gigantic prawns. Like, whole body, like... I don't know if you've seen a prawn, but they're like gigantic shrimp, and they serve them to all these middle schoolers with like the heads on and the whole thing. And
you also had mussels on there too.
Oh, mussel. Yeah. I barely have mussels in my regular adult life, and she's getting fed them at school. But the thing that amazed me with the prawns is like all these French kids, they just like go to work on them, right? I feel like...
Be like flying heads in the U.S.
I feel like, like there were food fights at your old school.
Yeah.
I feel like if you gave the kids something with eyes on it, that would totally have happened. Okay, so, yeah. And then you had, how were like holidays? Did you have special meals for holidays?
Yeah. For Christmas, we'll have a special meal, and it's like, you'll have potatoes and, I don't know. It's just fancier.
Again. That was okay. The chef made you what? Beef Wellington?
Yeah, we had beef Wellington, and what are those potatoes called? The
potatoes Delphine. Yeah, they're like baked gratin.
And then we had some like fresh prawn, like fresh shrimp, and then
fresh seafood. Yeah.
Yeah, fresh seafood, some salad, and like a bûche Noël.
Little petit fours.
Yeah.
For Christmas. Yes. Okay. That's great. So, how do you think the relationships with teachers are different in French middle school?
So I obviously don't know what American middle school is like exactly, but they're quite strict, I guess I'd say.
Yeah. Like in what way?
Like they might yell at you.
Like straight up yell?
Yeah. Like one time, I can't remember what happened, but there was something that happened when the teacher was not happy. So we got yelled at. There was one of my friends that was in the class next to us told us they heard the yelling from the class next door.
No way.
It's great. And
like, do you think that's normal? You've been in 2 different schools now, or just that particular teacher kind of had a freak out?
I think they're just a lot more strict, and they're going to tell you exactly what they think.
Okay.
They're more direct. They're not like, I think you need some more help when it comes to studies. They're like, this is the worst test I've ever seen in my entire life, and if you don't get better, you're gonna fail immediately.
Wow. And like, what is it like as a kid to hear that?
I don't know. It just feels like what happens.
Yeah. Do you think, do they give positive feedback too?
Yeah, there's lots of positive feedback. I almost always get, whenever you get a good grade or something, they'll write on your test why you got a good grade, or, they'll be like, good work, excellent travail, or something like that.
Yeah. Okay, so there's both kinds of feedback. And I remember you telling me that you didn't actually know the names of some of your teachers. Why was that?
Well, because a lot of times you just call them Madame, Monsieur. You don't say, like, Madame, whatever their last name is. Mm-hmm. So there are some teachers that have you call them that, but, like, I will genuinely forget. There was one point where I was like, Mr. History. What's Mr. History's name?
And is that more respectful to just call them Madame or Monsieur?
I mean, I don't know. It's just what we do. I'm not sure if that's what's more respectful. It's just that's what everyone does. So I feel like it'd be weird now to call them by their last name too.
So, and that was the same way at both schools you've been to?
Because I never hear anyone say that. Like, say both.
Yeah.
Say their last name.
Yeah. And what's it like, how do they handle grades differently here than in the U.S.?
I feel like they're less, like, private. Like, in the U.S., it's like, they don't have to tell you if they don't want to. You just hide your test. Everyone, you're not allowed.
It's very confidential.
Yes. I remember one time I was like, someone said, like, oh, what'd you get? And the teacher was like, they don't have to tell you. No one share their test scores. Points will be taken off if you share your test score.
Oh, wow.
It was kind of ridiculous. But, and here it's like, teachers are, like, reading out the test scores or, like, your grades.
Like, to the whole class.
Yeah, one time one of my teachers, like, projected all of our GPAs on the board. He was just like, and this person's first, and this person's second, and this person's third.
What's that like?
I mean, it's kind of weird, like, to just be like, oh, I can see the list of everyone.
Yeah.
I don't really mind it.
Doesn't bother you.
It's probably because I'm at the top of the list, but...
She's so humble too. So do you think it's encouraging or
I think it depends on the kid. Because like for me it makes me want to win.
Brings out your competitive streak. Yeah.
But then like for some kids I know it makes them like really nervous to fail, but that also makes them just like they don't really know what to do to get better grades. I don't know.
Would you say the teachers are willing to give those kids like attention and help them?
Yeah, I think so. Definitely. Yeah. If you just if you come to the teacher after the class, you can. They're almost always they're willing to talk to you unless they're like really on a time crunch for something.
Yeah. So do you feel like the teachers are interested and invested in you children's learning?
Definitely, I think so. I think they're very available and open to like talking to you if you need help or with something.
Okay. And has it been that way in both the schools you've been in?
Yeah, I think so. I didn't know. I was very scared to ask people for help the first year because I didn't know how to say help. So.
Yeah. How is it helping each other as classmates? Have you found?
Yeah, I would say. I mean, our class group chat is pretty active with like. Does anyone have the physics, what we have to do for physics or, stuff like that.
Yeah, so people are pretty supportive.
Yeah, people help a lot. Normally if you ask someone something, they're going to help you.
Yeah. So do you think, are there dances or like big sports games for the school or?
Not really.
Yeah.
I mean, there's the cross in like October, right before your October break, we have the cross.
What is that?
A bunch of kids running. You just run. It's true.
You just run and run.
It's just a race. It's a race, and everyone in middle school participates in it. And I know that the high schoolers they had a dance for Christmas, but other than that, one dance per year.
Yeah. So there's not really the same like school-wide teams or sports teams or like prom in high school and that kind of thing. So each school, we've heard, some schools have started to organize dances and things like that, more a little bit like the US. But for the most part, the focus is really on academics when you're in school. So what happens, there are no substitute teachers in France.
No.
So what happens when one of your teachers is absent?
So normally we just go to études. And or you go home depending on where it is. Because if it's at the very end of the day, you just go home if your parents can pick you up.
Okay.
And then sometimes we have other teachers. So let's say we have a math class canceled, or like we just don't have math. Maybe our history teacher will fill in that spot. So we'll have history instead of math.
Yeah. Her first school, the history teacher was always very excited about history. And anytime a class got canceled, if he had room, he would take the kids and teach them another class. He was always like so excited.
Yeah.
And what's etude? Like
etude is like, I guess kind of like study hall. You just go in a room and you stare at your studying stuff.
Yeah.
And do homework.
Can you talk to each other? Is it just like you have to be quiet and study?
So it depends. Normally when the room's really full, there's just like be quiet and study. But sometimes if it's a more empty room, or if it's a very small room, like it's just your class and you're in one of the little like etudes, then maybe you can ask like, hi, can I go in a group of 2 and work, please?
Okay. And like study together.
Yeah.
But it's still...
Or if you have a project to work on, they'll normally let you go together.
Yeah. But it's still, you've got to be pretty much doing schoolwork. You can't like be on your phone or like play games or stuff like that. Yeah. Okay. So now this is your 3rd year in France, in school, in French. Is it getting easier? Like, are you less tired at the end of the day? Or...
yeah, it feels like it's gotten... Now I just don't have to be like thinking every moment of every class. Because before it was like, okay, I know that word, I know that word, I know that word, I know that word. Okay, this is what this means.
Yeah.
But I would miss a lot. And now it's kind of like I'm just hearing it like I would English. I'm just hearing, and like every once in a while I get stuck on a word, so I just like either ask the person next to me, or I'm like, what does that mean?
Yeah.
But most of the time I'm good and I understand what's going on.
Okay.
I mean, there are times yet again where I'm just like, I don't know what's happening.
Yeah. How much percentage of the time do you think that is now?
20% normally like in French.
20%.
I would say it's almost always in French class, where I'm just like,
in regular French class, right? Where it's like
it's
native
all
speakers.
Yeah, it's my whole class, and we're learning stuff, and I'll just be here like, I'll ask the teacher after, be like, hi, I understood nothing.
And she's helpful?
Yeah, she always helps.
Yeah. And so, do you have any FLE left, which is like French for foreigners?
Yeah,
I still go to FLE?
Yeah, French langue étrangère, français langue étrangère, and I go there once a week, for an hour, and we just,
Oh, like, just for an hour. So you just have an hour each week. And what do they do? Do you just...
we're learning about homophones right now, and...
So, it's kind of catching you up on grammar.
Yeah, anything that people would already know, like that you things. It's just giving us an elementary school again. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, because you can like speaking and understanding.
Yeah, but it's like
French is good for you, but
basic conjugation or like knowing the difference between la, l, a, la, l apostrophe, la, l apostrophe, a, s. You know, like all those.
Yeah.
And stuff like that.
Yeah. That makes sense. So, do you think you've grown as a person during this experience?
Yeah, I've gotten taller.
She has her father's quick wit.
I'm very funny, you know.
Do you metaphorically feel that this experience has changed you?
Yeah, I think I've gotten better at like adapting to new circumstances, or understanding, like figuring out my own way to do things when I understand when I don't understand what's going on. Just trying to figure things out.
Yeah.
Problem solving.
Yes. But for the most part, I think the big differences that we covered is like the teaching style and kind of your relationships with teachers, the schedule, the longer days, but you're off on Wednesday afternoons. There's less extracurricular activities in school, but you do those on Wednesday afternoons usually. Lunch is longer, it's more leisurely, and you get 4 courses. How delicious those are going to depend on the chef at your school. So the very last thing then I would ask is, I think I asked you last year when we did this, any advice that you had for other kids who are coming into the French school system. What is it now? I'm just going to ask you that again because you've got another year behind you now.
I mean, I'd say, like, don't be afraid to ask for help because I was so scared to ask for help. Like, even if you don't really know how to communicate it, just asking for help because a lot of times you can send emails to teachers too. And you can use Google Translate for those.
Yep.
Great. Gotta love Google Translate.
Yeah.
But yeah, don't be afraid to ask for help and everything else I said in the last video. Again.
Yeah. How hard was it? You switched schools. Yeah. I can't remember where we were in that stream of things when we did your last interview, but how hard was it to make friends all over again? Because, some kids might get here and start at one school and then they find a house like we did and you have to move schools after just a year. How hard was it to readjust again?
I mean, I think because I was only in the second year of middle school, it wasn't that difficult to find friends. And I just kind of was like the person I sat next to the very first day, still friends with. But yeah, I don't know. It's just, I guess it depends on what kind of person you are. If you're ready to go talk to anyone you meet, but then you're probably going to make friends pretty quickly. But if you're not talking to anyone, then you might have more trouble.
Well, and the class, do you know, is it like this? Well, I mean, we only have 2 schools for reference, but does your class, kind of like your homeroom class, stay together as you go through to other classes during the day, like your math class, or is it change all the time?
So my homeroom class, we stay together. I have my class. I'm in this class. Yeah. And the teachers just move, or you go to a different teacher's classroom, but you're always with the same group of kids.
Yeah, I think, and it's that way. It's that way at your old school too, right?
So it's easier to make friends because you're with the same people, and it's not like you're changing classes every day, and so you might see different people every single class. So because you're just with the same people, it's much easier to kind of get to know, be part of a group. Yeah. And if you hate everyone in your class, then you'll be different next year, so it'll be fine.
Yeah, so it's not like Germany where you're with the same class for years and years. You do change each year, but through the year, you're with that same. And how big is your class?
So my class we are 20 exactly, but I have a tiny class. Like the other class in my grade is 27 people. Okay. But
so classes are like between 20 and 30 people.
And in my old school, I think we were 31. So
that was pretty big.
Yeah. But that was like the general class size for all the classes. So it just depends on the school you go to. Yeah. I guess. Yeah. Because last year too, we were 25, I think. So.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So the last message that you want to leave the 13-year-olds out there who are moving to France with?
Oh, now. Eat lots of chocolate. Chocolate will get you through.
There's good chocolate here. All right. Now you have to say a bientôt or thanks for watching like Dad and I do. You can do a bientôt, okay?
D'accord.
All right. Thanks for watching.
A bientôt.